This is, of course, YouTube Live. It happens to be July the 28th, 2026. Hard to believe that 2026 is very quickly, we're in the second half. So today I want to give you some essential life lessons. Learning how to protect your peace, learning from failure, and knowing how, of course, to overcome. You see, you and I can choose what type of person we're going to be. We need these core values to guide our personal growth and happiness and live in joy. So today, I want to give you some things to protect your peace. Now, the very first thing that you need to do is learn to set boundaries. You don't have to be available to people who only value your time when it's convenient for them. You see, when you set boundaries, when you tell people what you are and who you are and when you're available, it sends a very powerful message. You say to them, you know what? I value your friendship, but it's got to be reciprocal. I'm not going to be available to you night and day when you are, it's convenient to you. So set boundaries in your life, and it will be amazing how well you will live and how that you can learn to say no. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying no. In fact, later when we were children, you know what? We would say no all the time. My oldest daughter, when she was just turning about 1.5, at heading towards 2, she would walk around the house going, no, 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 no. And, but what happens to us when we get older, we end up becoming or can become people pleasers. And you know what? That is not always a good thing, because what happens when you start becoming a people pleaser, then what happens is you lose yourself in this particular way. And so learn to set boundaries, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Secondly, let go. Allow people to walk away instead of begging them to stay. You see, when you are basically a people pleaser, then what you do is you try to make everyone happy, but you know what happens? It only drains your own energy and your own peace. I was talking to someone one time and they said, I am so tired. I don't feel like I'm doing anything of value. And I said, why? Well, they said, because people are trying to make me, part of their lives. So I said, that's not such a bad thing. He said, yeah, but the problem is I'm always doing what they want to do. And I leave the stuff that I need to get done not done. So I simply said to them, okay, prioritize what is important to you. Decide what's important to you and do that first. And then allow yourself time to help others. There's things that we need to get done every day. And there are also things that we can do with, of course, others. But it's being deciding what is a priority that day that needs to be done, and then allow that fluidity to be able to help others and to be kind with others. I mean, let's face it, if you have a job, you have to go to your job. And then, of course, if you have things at home that need to be done, get those things done as well. If your spouse has a honey-do list, make sure that her honey-do list gets done first. And then, as you are, prioritizing your life, you'll discover that you'll find more time to help others. That means you, of course, make priorities. What's important to you? What's important to your family? What's important to help others as well? And you'll find out very quickly that you have actually more time than you actually thought. And also, as well, don't waste your time. So many people do that as well. They waste their time. and they think that they're doing something. Like, the average Canadian, for example, watches about 5 hours of, television every day, or is on a device, and they spend hours scrolling on their tablets, watching TV, and they think that they are, spending time well. Well, it isn't spending time well. You're wasting valuable time helping others, helping yourself, and doing things that are important. Another important thing to do is treat mistakes as feedback rather than a permanent setback. You see, we all make mistakes. We all foul things up, but they don't have to define who we are. And they are only things that are, there for a while. Learn from your mistakes and don't allow them to become a permanent setback in your life. You see, we all grow every single day. There are things that come across our path every single day that challenge us, but that's okay because you can learn from them. Not that long ago, we had a big windstorm where I live. And my wife came in and she says, "Do you know that there is a big tree limb sitting in my shelter?" She has a nice little canvas shelter where she puts her car, and a tree branch came down and punctured the shelter. So I had to go outside, remove the tree, and it was a big tree branch, and then I had to patch it up. Well, fortunately, the we have an invention called duct tape. So I duct taped it from the inside and I duct taped it from the outside, and it looks actually not that bad. We all have setbacks. For example, my daughter is having her basement taken care of, fixed the last couple of days. Well, we were able to get the excavator in, and all of a sudden, I said, "Wait a minute, guys, have we actually, found out where the gas line is?" Well, we contacted, the gas company. They came in a few minutes later, and we found out where the gas line is. That could have been a very major inconvenience. We discovered that it's only 4 feet from where we're digging. Well, we took the time to find out where the gas line is. So now, when we do the excavation today, we are going to be able to get the job done. Every setback is feedback rather than a permanent setback. Also, judge by actions. Watch what people do because words can really hide the truth. Remember, there's a lot of people out there that are long on delivery and short on, of course, long on what they say, but short on delivery. So watch people what they do. What they do is who they are. Met many people, and you've met many people as well, who talk a great talk. Oh, I do this and I do that, and I'm this way and I'm that way. But watch what they do because words hide the truth. But the truth always comes out in the way that people treat others. And watch that as well. Remember this: how they treat others, they will eventually treat you the same way. So if you hear someone gossiping and talking about someone, and they're talking to you about them, realize that if they do it to others, they're probably going to do it to you. So don't put your trust in what people say. Watch what they do because actions always speak louder than words. People can talk all they want, but watch what they do because actions also show priorities and they also show what that person really is like. Also, as well, value your solitude. Spending time alone actually helps find your direction instead of following the crowd. This is well being. It's okay to go off by yourself. I have some friends who love to go out into the woods. Some of them, are hunters. And so We had this one friend, his name was Wayne, and I said, Wayne, you're a hunter. You sit in a what they would call a blind, and it's basically a tree stand in the midst of trees, and he will sit there all day waiting for a deer. And I said, so when you're in that blind, do you guys talk? He says, no, we usually just sit there quietly. And he says, we're alone with our thoughts. And we discovered that, while we're alone, all of a sudden our mind settles down and we're able to, think about what is important in our lives. I always encourage people every day to get alone, spend time alone, and that way you find direction and you discover maybe, just maybe, you're a people pleaser, or maybe, just maybe, you're enabling others. Maybe, just maybe, you're wasting your time on certain things. Being alone gives us an opportunity to have our heart speak to us and give us direction again. I love being alone from time to time because when I'm alone, all of a sudden the voices of the world are silent. There was that old song that from America that says simply this: when you're in the desert, you can remember your name, for there ain't no one to give you no pain. And basically, what they were saying was get alone from time to time and get in nature and creation and enjoy your own thoughts, because all of a sudden, the noise of the world is quieted and you're able to think again. You see, we live in a world of crisis, we live in a world of fear, we live in a world of urgency, and so it's okay to detach yourself and get alone. Also, please take care of your mental and physical health before problems actually force you to stop. So many people are like that. We used to have a little hamster. My son called him Speedy, and this particular hamster would go around and around and around on their wheel, and actually don't go anywhere. But you see, so many of us are running through life at breakneck speed. We're, busy getting things done, but we forget that there is a physical and mental and spiritual side in our lives. And we need to take care of those as well. Every single day, work on your mental health. Every single day, work on your physical health. Because what will happen is when problems force you to stop, when you are not well both in the physical and in the mental, you will be forced to stop. I had a friend who was running life at breakneck. Then one day he had a physical episode and he had to stop. And the doctor said to him, stress is the very thing that's destroying your life. He says, well, I have a business to run, I have priorities. And the doctor said, not anymore. You are physically unable to do this. And you know what? He ended up, it was the best decision of his life. He ended up turning his business over to his managers, allowing the people that he had brought underneath him to start doing the business. And you know what? He slowly regained his health, his mental well being, and he learned a very valuable lesson. And that valuable lesson is that if you don't prioritize your mental and physical health, you will be, and it will end up crashing one day, and you may or may not recover. Fortunately, he did recover and he learned a very valuable lesson. And he said to me, he said, you know what? I'm glad after he came out the other side, he says, I'm glad that actually happened. He said, because I've learned to slow down. There's an old song by Simon and Garfunkel that goes like this: slow down, you're moving too fast. You got to make the morning last. Kicking down the cobblestones and looking for fun and feeling groovy. Also, as well, stop comparing yourself with others. My sister, her last name is Jones. And we kind of, giggled. And I said, well, I'm trying to keep up with the Jones. Well, you know what? Stop comparing yourself because you know what happens? It will steal your joy. Understand that you are unique. There's nobody like you. No one has your footprint, or I'm sorry, your thumbprint or your fingerprint. No one has your eye print. There is no one like you. There are many people who might look like you. I've had people say to me all the time, you remind me of somebody. You look like somebody. But you know what? I am unique and so are you. So don't compare yourself to others. Understand that every one of us are on our own path and journey for life. And when you compare yourself to others and you think to yourself, man, I wish that I had arrived. Let me tell you a couple of things that I read yesterday. The average CEO is 58 years old. That's right, 58 years old. The average billionaire doesn't become a billionaire until they're in their 50s, not when they're 20, not when they're 25. So you have to understand it's a process. The average person, when they get enough to retirement, doesn't actually happen until they're into their early 60s. Why? Because, of course, progress takes time, one step at a time. So if you find yourself not where you want to be, just remember, keep progressing, keep going, because sooner or later, you're going to get where you want to be. And also, as well, my last thought for you today is stay present. Enjoy the current moment rather than waiting for things to go wrong or thinking that, I'll do this tomorrow. The famous phrase is, I will do it later. You know, back in the 1960s, there was a commercial that was basically talking about car maintenance. And they say, why wait for spring? Do it now. Or why wait for fall? Do it now so that you can get your vehicle ready for winter. Whatever season you are in, enjoy it. Right now where I live, it's summer and I am enjoying every single moment. I must admit, I am a summer person. I put up with winter and I know that there is a certain beauty in winter. So enjoy the season that you find yourself in right now. And don't waste your time doing things that you don't want to do. And also, as well, enjoy every single day. It was Jeremiah who said, the mercies of God are new every morning. Great is his faithfulness. Today is the only day that we have. Yesterday is in the past. The future is not certain. You don't know if you're going to even last the day. So today, enjoy this day. Enjoy the wonderful things that you do today. Enjoy the people that are in your life today. Right now, I have my daughter, a granddaughter, I should say, and my son staying with us. And we asked them to stay an extra couple of days. They were supposed to go home on Monday, but we said, why don't you stay just a couple of extra days? We have been enjoying them. My wife took them to the city yesterday and she came home and they were filled with packages. My wife had a look on her face that was absolutely precious. She's enjoying our granddaughter, and our granddaughter is an absolute joy to have around. Last night, when I went and asked her to go to bed, I said, it's time to go to bed. She's almost 10 years old. And she just said, okay, Grandpa. And she troodles off to bed. And she, just a real special little girl. Enjoy your family, your friends, and each and every moment. So let's recap everything that we talked about today. When it comes to your peace and well being, make these a core value. Set boundaries. Let go and allow people to walk away. Stop trying to please people. And because what will happen is you drain your energy and your peace. Treat mistakes as feedback and rather than a permanent setback. Judge by actions. What will people do? Watch what people are doing because words can hide, of course, the truth. Value solitude. Spending time alone helps you find your own direction instead of following the crowd, and this helps with well being. Take care of your mental and physical health before problems stop you in your tracks. Stop comparing yourself and measuring your life against others. This only steals your joy. And lastly, stay present. Enjoy the current moment rather than always waiting for things to go wrong or, waiting for that special moment that never comes. My name is Robert Dean Steele. These are little values that I want you to institute in your life today. Now, also, as well, if you like what you've been hearing and seeing, please press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, as well, check out my daily YouTube shots. Every day, I put on, little videos that will encourage and also give you something to think about. So check those out as well. They're usually under 1 minute and it doesn't take very long, but maybe something that I will say to you today will help you center your life and make you more valuable, not only to yourself, but to others. My name is Robert Dean Steele. You have yourself a great and godly day and enjoy this day.